Hello and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is Dave and I will be your Keeper of Arcane Lore for this session of Call of Cthulhu. Today we are continuing our playthrough of Regency Cthulhu, and you can get your own copy of this book over at chaosium.com. You can find all of our collected VODs over on the Chaosium YouTube channel, and if you're watching there, we do stream each Friday over on our Twitch channel. I want to give a thank you to Roll20 and Sirenscape for being tools which we use to improve our game. And without further ado, let's return to the scenario at hand. So where we left off last session, things were getting a little hectic. Yeah, look, I don't think they're better yet. I think they're getting worse. And I think it's up to you guys to make it get better. So
that's fair.
Jackson, as Miss Radcliffe, had headed out to the summer house at Mortview Estate, which is the Pottertons' home, to meet with her brother and one of his assistants, aides, brigands, if you will, and is now feigning hostage as her two companions, Mr. Potterton and Miss Wentworth, come through the underbrush to rescue her. Now, where things resolved, Mr. Potterton had quite a cunning role to convince Baxter, the man who's got a knife to Miss Radcliffe's neck, that the Potterton wealth is all tied up over at the Tarryford Four Feathers Inn, that he should head there post-haste. As Miss Radcliffe, or Molly's brother, came charging around the corner on horseback, Miss Wentworth revealed a shotgun, blasted him square in the chest with 6 damage. He was able to stay up, but where we are going to resume the scene after introducing each of our investigators will be right as we roll into dexterity order and see how all of this unfurls. So yeah, quite literally beginning with a bang. Let's kick off with Jackson introducing Miss Radcliffe.
That is me. I am Jackson. I am Miss Jane Radcliffe, and I am Molly Rowlands, and I am in a bit of trouble. You know, Molly can see a needle that can be threaded, in theory.
Okay.
She doesn't exactly know where that needle is. She doesn't exactly know where the thread is. But she's pretty sure that in between the investigators and the gang and her brother and the terrible monsters on the other side of the, doorways to hell, there is a way to get out of this in one piece. Just has to find it.
I'm very excited to see that way, because the moment it feels a lot like doors are closing. Okay.
So is she.
It's more a belief than a knowledge.
Yeah, but belief becomes knowledge if you believe it hard enough.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the Reverend would say as such if he were here. All right, let's go across to Jimbo.
Absolutely, yes. I am Jim, and I am playing George Potterton, the most eligible bachelor in all of Tarryford. So I've got a high accountancy skill. I've got a lot of high social skills. I've talked a big game about my my dueling prowess and being ready to sort of really tangle when stuff gets down. And I certainly have the fundamentals. I just really haven't been exposed to a real situation like this before, at least not one where I'm not cowering as an NPC in the corner. So I think
theory, just not the practice.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, okay, everything starts moving around me, and I'm like, the first step is to pull out the sword. Okay, I got to pull out the sword, and I guess what does the manual say? Step, pivot, sort of
Stab.
Thing. We'll see how it goes.
You also have just, to Mr. Potterton's mind, successfully diffused the situation before Miss Wentworth, and we'll go across to Alex now, reveals the shotgun and takes an alternative path.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm playing Ms. Emma Wentworth, the only Wentworth sister since my darling older sister exploded. And I have a gun.
Yeah.
Good news.
Yeah, that about covers it. Horrendous. She has a shotgun.
Have a gun.
It will take a clean 4 rounds to reload. 1 through 4, so 3 rounds to reload. So
I'm going as fast as I can.
Yeah. So resetting the scene, and then we'll go right back into it. The very first roll I'm going to make is going to be a ride roll for Mr. Black, who's just been shot on his horse, to see if that throws him off. So there is the summer house, within which there is a deep hole in the ground with a rope ladder currently tied The upper portion is tied off to one of the beams. The lower portion is tied around something they discovered down there after they removed and cracked the stone that sealed it. Standing just in the doorway, sort of silhouetted against the light inside, is Miss Jane Radcliffe, Jackson's character, or Molly, who is being held hostage by Baxter, the sneering aide of Arthur Rowlands. He has a knife right to your throat and is going to easily be able to jam that in if he sees so fit. And you are currently playing the part of, like, I'm selling this. I'm hoping to be abducted.
This was all my idea.
That's right.
This was my idea. I requested to be kidnapped, and so we just have to play that out.
That's right.
To wherever it goes.
So, he's standing there, and you're in the doorway with him. Mr. Potterton and Miss Wentworth are coming through the underbrush towards the house, and there's a short run of like grass between you and them, and it is nighttime. Pitch dark. The only sources of light are the one inside the summer house and the one that Mr. Potterton is holding in his hand. Roaring around the stand of trees comes Arthur Rowlands, or Mr. Black, who's on top of this horse, slamming down on it to charge forward, grab Miss Radcliffe, and flee with them all. However, he has just been shot at pretty close to point blank by Miss Wentworth. I'm going to begin with a ride test for Mr. Black. And as I make that roll, see if it wants to go through.
Action-packed.
Oh, yeah. That is a failure. He is thrown from the horse, which rears and then begins to basically just move around in the area, possibly fleeing. He tumbles to the ground, and we are going to go straight into dexterity order, where Alex, as Miss Wentworth and the highest dexterity, you are immediately going to be able to act again. What would you like to do?
I was reloading the gun. I'm just reloading this ancient fucking shotgun.
Okay. All right. You expend the charge from the chamber, slide another one in, begin to like jam in paper, powder, everything that's needed for these relic, although at the time cutting edge weapons.
Yes, this cutting edge weapon. I've got the paper in my teeth as I'm like pulling the powder out, and
I randomly looked up these a while ago. I think that we're past the sort of like pipe cleaner down the barrel sort of situation.
Yeah.
What it is the bullets are really weird. So you have to pull it out and you have to like bite off the tip and stuff like that to get it all like primed and everything. So yeah, it's quite odd.
It's like two hands in a mouth situation.
Hell yeah.
Don't
yes.
make that face, Jackson.
So it takes.
I'm just utterly interested into where Emma Wentworth learned such a thing.
Where Emma Wentworth learned the two hands in a mouth situation. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay. No, hold on. That's not what I meant.
Sprinting right along.
You knew what I meant.
So,
I meant the gun. That's it.
Next to act is Baxter, who, startled by Miss Wentworth's sudden explosion, jams the knife ever so slightly into your neck, just in start, and then pulls you backwards into the house and kicks the door closed behind you. Miss Radcliffe, are you happy to go this way with him?
Yes.
Okay, so he pulls you into the house, kicks the door closed, and then drops it, and says to you, "You didn't say they had a gun, Mole."
I didn't know. I didn't tell him to bring a gun.
Fuck's sake.
Do I know that there's a back door?
Yeah, he's going to immediately start to head towards it around the other side.
Fantastic.
And he's making, come on with me, we need to get going. Arthur will sort himself out.
Has he still got me around the neck? Or is
No,
he
he's released you, but he still has a knife.
Excellent.
And he's going to begin to scurry towards the back door.
So do I.
Okay, all right, the two of you follow. You are in the house moving towards the back door. Jackson, that is your turn. You follow with. You can reach the back door, and you're just beginning to open it as we go across to Jimbo.
Okay. I am obviously very concerned about what's happening to Jane, but I'm sword guy. I have a pistol, but I'm not good at shooting it. And as far as I'm aware, if I rush towards Jane, I'm just going to be facing somebody with a knife. I think that my plan at the top of this was, if he falls, I'm going to try and take him hostage to have a bargaining chip. So I think that still holds. I whip up my sword and I'd like to rush forward towards the fallen man.
Okay, and are you still holding your lantern aloft in the other hand? Without
I'm
it, there
not
will
sure
be
how you wanna
no
do that
light,
mechanically.
pretty
I'm
much.
happy to ditch it next to.
I'm happy for you to have it and no penalty. You are keeping you are the source of light in this situation. If something happens, if you fumble, if you push, I know you can't push in combat. If something happens, the lantern may be dropped as you're in a fray. Like there's a chance of it getting smashed, basically.
Understood.
Jackson.
Yep.
I have a small bit of take backsies.
Yeah, you want a little backsy?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna
say
nip back to Jackson's turn quickly, Jim.
So Baxter to go find the back door, unless
Okay.
it's like obvious. But I'd rather stay here and stay by the window and watch out of sight.
Okay.
Because,
Alright.
yeah, against all better judgment, Arthur Rowlands, aka Mr. Black, is my significant person, which, is problematic and don't want him to be, but he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to watch for a second.
So Bax.
And hope that if I get the impression of like they're going to go try to finish him off, I might let out a scream and just
Hell yeah.
kind of like distract them and try to bring George over this way.
So, I think what happens then is Baxter pulls you in and then releases you. Mentions the shotgun and then goes to find the back door. He's got this nasty little like shaving razor switchblade sort of number. He keeps it out as he hunches low, and as he goes past, he's going to kick the lantern that you had with him into the hole in the ground, where it breaks against one of the sides of the tunnels and drops down to the ground, quickly extinguishing and plunging the inside into darkness. He skirts around, it gets towards the back door and begins to open it. As you hunch on the inside and peer through one of the windows, see the swinging lantern as Mr. Potterton stands up, draws his sword and begins to step forward towards your brother. Now you know Mr. Potterton and you can kind of speak to his character. Jim, am I fair in saying that she would probably assume you're not going in to kill but to subdue?
Yes. I think that's very fair to say.
That said, when swords come out, there is always the chance of death. Like, these are dangerous weapons, and ultimately, he is a little untested. So we'll return now to Jim as you step forward, and you probably don't notice Miss Radcliffe unless you look for her pointedly watching you.
If this was a fighting brawl situation, I might say I roll a subdue as a combat maneuver. Would you be happy for me to do that with my sword? So essentially, if he's fallen, I'm hoping he's on the ground, I sort of like plant a foot down on his leg and put the sword at his throat and like kick away his weapon.
Yep.
I roll to subdue with sword.
So you can make a fighting maneuver to see if you can get the upper hand and basically hold him still here. He does not look like he's still got enough get up and go in him that he's not immediately yielding. So this is going to basically hold him and then you can try and intimidate or something. With the sword, risks of penalty here are someone getting cut. There is a real risk here that things go poorly. But yeah, you can go ahead and you basically make a fighting maneuver with the sword, and he will
just
riposte
fell off
this.
his horse. Is he prone and may I have a bonus die?
I think you can have. What is your build?
My build is, I believe it's 0.
Okay, he is build 1. So what we will functionally say is that will counter it out. So this will be a straight roll, as he is a larger figure than you. He is going to attempt to riposte this. So you go ahead and make your roll in case you want to spend any luck.
Gotcha. All right, here we go. Extreme success.
Okay, and would you like to spend any luck on that?
Outstanding.
I think I'm fine on the
Okay,
luck
all right.
front.
He is going to try and riposte regardless. And we'll just get a little sense of his
Because I do get a taste of his metal.
Yeah, exactly. Does not want to roll immediately. There it goes. Oh, and also an extreme with 12 damage. But you're able to kind of show your skill here. So he reveals this like long cudgel from underneath and whips it around. You actually realize as he fell off, he sort of tumbled through the ground and was lying on his back, feigning being taken out. And as you step forward, he suddenly lunges across and you parry it deftly out to the side and whip the sword forward towards his throat. At the moment, it's a bit like how Baxter had Molly. If he risks anything here, the sword can drive forward and you kind of have him held for a moment. It's kind of a grapple, but more like at risk of
I'm
death.
picturing he swung out and is open, and I've got the sword right at his throat, and I'm walking around with the sort of points pressing right there.
It is immediately going to go to his turn. He is going to bellow, pounce and move to strike at you. You can riposte this, and I'll give you a bonus dice on it because of your positioning. Would you like to try and counter him, or do you want to just dodge? In fact, I'll give you a bonus dice on the dodge as well here if you want it. To kind of just hold this position, knocking him back, and then someone can try and intimidate or convince him to stand down.
I think at this point, if he attacks me while I'm in the hold position, I do think I actually do strike here. I'm sorry to say. I think I look panicked as I'm doing it. Like, I'm just so underconfident in my own ability. If he attacks out, I will repulse.
You can take a bonus dice, and Jackson, as you see this, Radcliffe watching from the window, you see Mr. Potterton, like, parry, and there's possibly even a little flare of pride here. It's very much mixed emotions. I don't know who you're rooting for. And then, as you know, as Arthur's down, he seems to be willing to continue to fight. Do you yell anything from the house?
Help! No! George, please! Just trying to draw him away from the fight.
Do you want to make
change what I do?
Do you want to make an acting roll? I think.
Yes, I would love to act.
So, Wadsworth. Okay.
Nah.
Okay. Genuinely, I'm sorry about this. That distracts you for a moment, Mr. Potterton. This was Arthur's thing. He swings at you, and you're no longer going to have that bonus dice. Just for a moment,
oh no,
Miss Radcliffe distracts you, and the cudgel flashes out towards your head. And Arthur's absolutely going for like a kill or a heavy incapacitate. Go ahead and dodge or riposte.
Oh, I'm sorry, James.
That's quite all right. I think I said riposte, so I'll stick with what I had.
Okay.
Here we go. Crit.
Oh my god! It's...
Wow.
Holy shit!
I was right! I am the reincarnation of Captain Stone.
You're an accidental genius. Sword. Like...
James, what's your sword damage? Do you have it there in your sheet?
Yeah, I'll
I believe I put them on.
It's 1d6 plus 1, but I think that might have been
That's an
put
impale.
in as medium club.
Oh yeah, let me check
quickly. I've got the Regency book over there, which I can grab.
Oh no, I've got it here. I've got it here. Un momento, por favor. Sword. You have a. No, it is a D6 plus 1. You have a rapier style medium sword. A cavalry saber, like a really heavy one, is a D8 plus 1. So yours is a little lighter. So you will deal 7 damage, ignoring armor, and roll another D6 for me, please.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll all 8s cudgel regardless.
This is exactly how you want to try and get someone to fall in love with you, by murdering their brother.
I'd say saving her from being abducted, which is what the impression.
Oh, and he got an extreme, but I got a crit.
Again, 12 damage. You have no idea how lucky you are here. That's incredible.
This is just like the most like quick fire, boom, boom, boom. 3 extremes and a crit. I would have failed on an extreme success because I would have been riposting against an extreme, which is what he did last time. Oh,
so,
my God.
you deal 11 damage, which is a kill shot. I'm going to describe what he does. Miss Radcliffe calls out and distracts you, and then Jim, I'm going to pass it to you for you have killed him. So, from the ground, he swings a thing at you, parry it deftly, and flick the rapier towards his neck, just like delicately underneath the Adam's apple, a tiny trickle of blood. You call for him to stand down, then you hear a yell for help from Miss Radcliffe from the thing. You see her hands press up against the glass. Distracted for a moment, Arthur bellows, "Ponce!" knocks your rapier out towards the side and goes to slam it towards your head. It's this thick black kosh that if it like connects with your head, absolutely stars unconscious, shortly followed by death. Acting on pure instinct, you follow suit, and I'll pass it to you to describe the scene.
I think it is very much pure instinct. I have it there. He just grabs the tip of the pointy sword and shoves it away and swings to my head, and I let the spin carry me, rotating around. He comes in close but whiffs over my head, and then I just pivot and stab him right through the heart once, pull back. Not even kind of aware what I'm doing at this point, and like resume the dueling stance as bonk.
I see it as one of those like thin little knives just go so thin like rapiers just go like there's no like massive gout of blood. It's just through and it's like ugh, as you withdraw it, and there's this little pool of blood developing underneath his black coat. As it found, it like went through one of the buttonholes even and just right into the heart and back. And he's sort of like for a moment just confused. and then he looks across towards the window, and as his hand goes out, you can hear him trying to say something. And Mr. Potterton, could you please give me a listen roll?
I will. Let's see how good I am at listening. Failure.
Okay.
You're
He,
distracted. You're busy.
he
You're
mouths
busy. He's
something,
busy.
but you're not sure what it is. It's going on his breath. Jackson, you see him look over, and as the light fades from his eyes, he mouths "mole" to you and reaches out for help. But he is dead. He's going to die. Can I get sanity rolls from both Miss Radcliffe and Mr. Potterton, please? And Miss Radcliffe, I think I'm going to impose a penalty, as this is your significant
I
other.
encourage it.
Oh,
99.
That is, there we go, and that is
Not
a
a
fumble.
fumble.
So,
Yes,
Not
it
a fumble, is
right.
it?
Oh my god,
is.
the extreme rolls.
no, actually, you are over 50, so it's technically not a
Over
fumble,
50.
ever so
Right.
barely. Miss Radcliffe, you're going to take a D4 for seeing your brother die, and Mr. Potterton, I'm going to pose a D6 on you for killing. I think here,
Yep.
if you're agreeable to it.
I
Actually, no,
am
sorry.
very
I think I
happy
might have gone a
with
little
that.
heavy on that. This is getting into. I think I feel like I think I went too heavy on that. I think we could dial both of those down to a D4 for Mr. Potterton and probably like a D2 for Miss Radcliffe. This is mundane. How do you feel
Yeah.
about them? Or do you feel like this is kind of in the scene for where your characters are at?
I feel like what this does is it shapes me just shy of triggering a bout, is probably what I would say, because I don't think I would have a bout of madness as a
agree,
result
I
of this,
agree.
but contributing strongly towards my indefinite, which this will but not push me over the edge, is probably exactly what I think is the correct
Then
balance.
how about, so James, if you're agreeable to it, we'll put you at a 4-point loss, and Miss Radcliffe,
Yeah.
if you just keep the 1, and that's like a, so, okay, all right, awesome. Everyone,
Yeah, I
everyone's
think
on.
that's sensible.
Okay, he falls, and Miss Potter, you both failed, so there is an involuntary action. Miss Radcliffe, I can think of a number for yours, some that may put you in a socially vulnerable position. Miss Potter, yours is going to be more severe, as you took a larger hit. What do each of you do here as you kind of yell out, drop your weapon, drop the lantern? Miss Radcliffe possibly yell no, like really revealing some more emotions here. What happens?
I think I freeze for a second, then I drop my sword and attempt to apply first aid for
Okay.
for a round, I'm like, oh god, sorry,
Yeah.
Whoops.
That's amazing. Yeah, so
it's all sparring, right? I don't actually hurt you.
yeah,
Went a
you
little far there.
drop the weapon to the side and let the lantern rest as you fall down and begin to sort of like hold and press the blood in. This man stares up at you with just hatred in his eyes. Blood is beginning to pour from his mouth and drip down into his black beard. You can see the light beginning to fade from his eyes, and one of his hands grabs at your like cravat and stains blood across the white as it twists it. At first going to throttle you, but getting weaker and weaker and weak as he just looks up at you and tries to spit into your mouth, but it just dribbles down the side as you try and vainly resuscitate him. Mr. Potterton will kind of stall for a round. Jackson, I'd like to know how you react as you see your brother fall, and from the back you hear Baxter go, "Mole, let's get out of here."
I think there is a start of a scream, and then it just turns to anger before I can stop it. And so I think she's just going to like smash the nearest thing, which could be the window she's looking out of,
Yeah.
but then turn and stomp toward Baxter at the back, pushing him out of the way, heading out into the night.
Okay. As you sort of like smash out the window, and Miss Wentworth, you'll probably be the one that like hears that crack on the inside, but in the darkness you can't see if Baxter sort of like pushed her into it. Like it's not clear what happened immediately. Then as you whirl around and stalk around the tunnel, where you can just see the fading light of the lantern up against what looks like a heavy stone or something withdrawn from the mud and with a rope wrapped around it. As you get towards Baxter, he looks up to you, and you kind of had the opportunity there to step away, to turn and join your new friends, and you just see he lets out like this big grin and just nods to you. Says, "All right then, let's go. It's your work to do." And he moves out into the darkness, and following him, the two of you will be able to leave the fields and head for the forests. Of course, you can always interject and do something else, but that's the current
I don't
trajectory.
want to follow him.
Okay.
He's gonna have to follow me.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think you
just
sort of
wanted to make a point.
you got an extreme intimidate on him. Like you have intimidated him before. Actually, I think you didn't. I think it was Arthur you got it on. You have enough name power for the moment to push it, but you have the read of this man. He doesn't like you. You've gotten a bit further here. He was your brother's man. He's not your man. And he kind of goes like, all right, Mole, and steps in behind you, but you just know that the first chance he gets, you're back in the hostage situation, and he's calling the shots. But for now,
you know, I get back to the gang first and make it clear that I'm claiming my inheritance.
oh, absolutely. But you just know that this man needs to go. He's not on your side and probably won't ever will be.
Roger,
but
Dodger.
for now, he steps back and will let you lead as the two of you head off into the darkness. We're gonna return to with the other two leaving. We'll stay in round order for a moment in case anyone wants to act and pursue. Alex, you're gonna be back at the top. What are you looking to do?
I'm still loading my gun. I missed most of this.
Yeah. Well, you got the first shot off. You reload the gun. It is one round off.
Is this what my... No, I have one more after this
Yeah,
one.
one more
I've got
after
the
this one. Then you'll be ready to fire. Are you kind of just holding down and like, what is your thought process? Are you concerned that more are coming? That like this is a...
It's less that I'm concerned more are coming and more that I know that if we're going to pursue the guy who I believe has taken Jane, then I don't want to be doing that unarmed.
Okay. All right.
So I've probably been glancing up to like check out what's going on, but I'm mostly focused on just reloading.
Okay. You stop to you pause to reload. You can see the horse sort of like rear in the center and begin to charge away, scared by the gunshot. You will also notice behind you lights beginning to come on in the actual estate house as people react to the gunshot outside. Jackson and Baxter both act next, and unless directed otherwise, head off into the darkness, beginning to spirit away. And as we go to Jim, attempting to resuscitate, we shortly follow after return to Miss Wentworth, who finishes reloading. Baxter
I'm gonna look. Yeah, I'm gonna look over at George. Waste of time, George. He's dead. You've killed him.
Yes.
And good thing
Okay.
too.
I'll stand up, sort of blood-stained hands, look at them for a second, then glance around, coming back to myself.
I think that awful man took Jane.
They won't have enough horses to go far. They said is the horse that was in the middle of the area still somewhat nearby?
It is moving to bolt. I would need a roll to get it under control.
I would like to try and roll to get it under control.
Okay. Do you have a ride or some animal skill?
I do. I've got a decent ride skill.
Okay. Go ahead and I'm gonna say, given it was spooked a bit, there's gonna be a hard roll. And it's
Sure.
not your horse, but go ahead and make a roll. So you've rolled so well so far, yeah. Mr. Potterton it's one of those, like, you find yourself in dire times. You are able to step out, wrap your hands around the reins, and haul the beast in. As you sort of like soothe it somewhat and begin to calm it, you can see it like grunting and things. It was quite well cared for. It's clearly been like brushed regularly and was a piece of pride. It's this pure like black beast, very in keeping with this man's aesthetic. And you can see a saddlebag on it with in the back of which you will find rope. There are some cloth bags. There is also what looks like not what looks like. There is some like stationery. Like there's some rolled sheafs of paper, quill, ink, things like that, which seems quite different to the rest of the things there.
Yeah.
There's also more evidence of the brambles you saw previously, indicating them hiding out in the woods to the south.
As I calm the beast, I probably turn to Miss Wentworth and say, "We know where they're going, and they can't move quicker than us. We could try and head them off, or ride into the fields and yell out. There's only one left. If we convinced him that he needs to go to the tavern, he won't have any other location. We could say, let her go, and we won't block you off there. Otherwise,
did we already convince him to go to the tavern?
He's convinced that there's wealth there. He's not necessarily just
Yeah.
going to go blindly
Yeah.
towards it. That said, it's night. This might be his opportunity. Truth told, you're unsure. He's also got a hostage with him and one person. He
Yeah.
might look to get back up.
I think we should go now. And I'm sort of
Yes.
hovering. I know you hate horses, so I'm kind of like hovering.
If I don't have to do any of the horse rolling and I can just sit on the back and hold on, we're good.
All right, let's go. We can try and head them off and convince him to let her go.
Okay.
One way or another, George.
Okay. As George swings on into the stirrups and resheaths his lightsaber, little pools of blood still gathering in the scabbard. Miss Wentworth is helped up and onto the back. The beast is slightly skittish, but doesn't immediately buck, and Potterton has it under control. He wheels it around and begins to move deftly through the fields that you first learned to ride in. This is very much your estate. And in this moment, with the sort of lantern held across, this is very much the man of the manor. Like, you can see Potterton's inheritance here. Like, he goes through this all with confidence. He is defending his area. He's looking after the person who was, whether there was love there, at the very least she was a guest in his care, and he takes this very seriously as he begins to wheel around and hunt for her and the brigand that took her. Do you return to gather extra supplies, or do you just immediately go about? You don't have your pistols and things with you, or you just go for it?
I think it's a just go for it situation.
Okay.
And I think that it's exactly what you described, Dave, but I think that in just internally adding some flavor, I think it's accidental from Potterton's perspective, but maybe it always is. And that sort of effectuation of somebody, like, you know, bravely defending is in reality a combination of all these like random things that just leads to a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, you've been you've looked after your family for a while and stuff, like whether you almost want to or not, you've had to step into this role time and time again. And at some point it just begins to become easier, although it's never easy.
Exactly.
By the time
It's
you're
never easy, and you can only do it when you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And as soon as the adrenaline begins to cool down, it'll probably be a lot tougher. Like, you'll realize your hands are shaking, you're white gripping the thing, and the illusion of this falls away on close inspection. You can see the lights beginning to come on your house, but you don't have time to regather with them and alert them. You sort of wheel it around and begin to hunt. Moving out the back door, Molly, Baxter follows behind you. He's going to point towards the road on the far side, saying that's the easiest way to follow back. But as you begin to hear the horse and things begin to rouse, he's going to suggest you basically stick into the underbrush where the horses can't follow you, and you'll take the long way back. It'll be a long walk, but we'll get there eventually.
We not got a horse?
Only half a body. I'm on the old feet.
Yeah, good one, mate. All right. Split up. You're back at the woods.
Wait, Mo. Before we go, there's a chance here, isn't there? Otterton's
Is
out.
what?
Otterton's out. He's hunting for us. What say you, we circle back round? Get the kids.
And do what? Just the two of us? It's not going to happen.
You're with us, aren't you? They won't expect
Yeah.
it. You go in, you say, "Come here, darlings. Miss Radcliffe wants to take you outside where it's safe. There's gunshots around.
You've
Come
already
here with
got-
me. We'll hide in the summer house. Then you and
It's
I."
already got me. George is gonna pay King's ransom for me. Don't need any more kids. It's just making it harder.
Fine. On foot then. It's a long walk.
Split up so we don't get spotted.
I think I might need what is your goal with splitting up? He's quite suspicious of you. You've proven yourself a bit here and coming with him, so I'll probably give you a bonus dice on trying to convince him.
It does sound persuasive.
I believe
but I've got a
so.
higher intimidate, so I'm gonna say more of a. You fucked up the plan so far, so now it's my operation, and I'm telling you, we're splitting up.
Ooh.
With a bit of intimidate.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Go for it. Take a bonus dice.
Nice.
Because it's true.
Hey.
Yeah.
These are
Nice.
green rolls this session. This is good stuff.
Yeah, because I haven't rolled yet.
Well, no, but you got an extreme to finich the last
That's true.
session. I think
That's
we're
true.
going pretty well. Let's come
That's
back.
true. This is all. This is. I started this. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
That's great. Yeah, you got he like was pushing up against you. And he goes, right then, Miss Rollins, at your service. And he bows in a mock fashion, but referring to you by your like brother's surname too. Definitely has a bit of the. He's recognizing where the crown has passed. He's also he didn't see it, but he is aware that. Actually, would he?
I don't
They
know.
heard
he got out
silence.
quick,
He
and
got out
didn't-
pretty quick. I actually tell
Yeah.
you what. You let out a yell. Unless it's kind of retro. Do you want to try and pass off like he could come round? I think he's aware that Arthur's dead. He heard you yell out no.
Or
You came round.
captured,
You
yeah.
looked gutted.
Yeah.
And Arthur's not fighting. They're on the horse. Like he's probably dead or incapacitated.
Mm.
I think he can put that together.
Mm.
I think he recognizes it and passes it along. He bows.
Excellent.
He's rolling. And then he begins to disappear off into the underbrush. He is quite stealthy, and he does headway. You can pause long enough to get the impression that he is, in fact, going towards the Pendlehaven Woods. He does not seem to be hanging around to check that you do so as well. Possibly for a chance, because if he gets back there first, he can tell the gang what he wants to tell them as well. But you also...
I'm inclined to try to beat him there.
Okay, so you are racing him towards it.
You
You're
thought
not...
it was a cunning ruse, but in fact, yes, no, I am going to the woods.
straight up a race. All right, fantastic. So first one I'm going to need you to do is make a stealth roll, and this is going to be opposed by Mr. Potterton and Miss Wentworth's spot hidden, as they are looking, or track. Before we do this, Jackson, I'm going to give you a bonus dice for this because
so.
you've got your on your own and you're hidden. You can be they're also calling out for you. I think for Miss Wentworth and Miss Potterton, I'm going to factor this as basically just a single roll from one of you. The support is kind of cancelling out penalties from darkness and things. Basically, straight roll from one of you. Miss Radcliffe with a bonus dice. I think the edge is in her favor, being a single person in this area. Unless there's any other elements you want to argue.
No, I can see it. Basically, it's dark and we're searching. We've got a lantern, doesn't really help for a big search, but I know the land, so it does feel like it all sort of hits even. The only thing I can think of is whether we were like basically trying to talk to people instead of just look. But I think
There's no one really. It's night. There's no one really around.
Yeah, I was vaguely considering riding around and like yelling because I'm in my head they're not going to separate because Miss Radcliffe is a hostage.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for someone who's being bundled along.
Yeah,
and,
100%.
like, yelling out like, if you let her go, we won't kill you, kind of thing.
I think 100% tracks, and I think that again probably plays into Miss Radcliffe's favor.
Exactly,
So I think this
yeah.
is going to be a straight roll from one of you. So choose who wants to make it.
I've got 45 in spot hidden. I could see myself focusing on riding and you glancing, or
I've got 25 in spot hidden, but sure.
okay.
Okay.
Well, how about I take it?
I think you might want to take it.
Why don't we roll yours first, Jim? We'll see if you want to spend any luck or push it, and then we will return to Miss Radcliffe.
That is a failure.
Okay.
And I don't think. I think this is a long shot at this stage. I in my head know where they're going. So
You
we
had some
can sort
track too, if I remember. Like you a little bit of you is like, I could pick this up in the morning. Or you might not have track, and you just kept on lucking into it.
Track feels like the kind of thing I should have because I'm the most eligible bachelor night guy.
You're
I don't have any track.
attractive. That's right.
Night guy.
Night guy. Okay. All right. So that's gonna be a failure. Miss Radcliffe, if you could give us a stealth roll, please, with bonus dice.
Don't even need it.
Oh my
But you'll
god!
take it. You'll definitely take it.
3 extreme. I am top sneaky.
Yeah, and with that, I'm also going to factor that into your race against old
Excellent.
Baxter to
take
head back
all
to
the
the Pendlehaven Woods.
shortcuts,
Now, it
'cause
is
I'm
going to
so well
basically,
hidden.
it is going to take you the night to head there, but you take shortcuts, you go around. You also, for you know, all the Baxter things, he's basically been in the woods and come into Tarryford once. He doesn't actually know this area nearly as well as you do, who have taken a couple of walks on Mr. Potterton's arm. And I think
Delightful.
like looking back now at those images as Mr. Potterton's taking around the estate, you're like mapping the area. You're like, that's egress, that's where we come in, that's where we, you know, that's if we need to set up a camp, we can come in through here, and you're now putting that plan into action. As you escape, I wonder what's going... Now that, like, as we said, like, Mr. Potterton cools down and the adrenaline fades up, I think the same happens for you, too, and you have a moment to kind of sit with your thoughts. How are you feeling with your brother dead, with Mr. Potterton abandoned? How do you reconcile that he killed him? Where is your head at?
It's Arthur was my significant person. This is identity shaken stuff. And maybe if it had gone the other way, maybe if Arthur had killed George, I'd be thinking about putting the gang life behind me and would have shaken me the other way. But as it is, I just saw a member of the gentry kill a serf, just like they've been doing for hundreds of years. Much as I could convince myself otherwise, things haven't changed. They are the same.
Oh yeah.
So I gotta go take the place I was born into, since that's all you can do in this world, and make the best of it.
Oh yeah. This only steals your resolve, and whatever steps you'd taken into Miss Jane Radcliffe, you'll always be Molly Rowlands, and you'll always be a blistered heel. You make your way through the woods, and it will take you all night to reach the woods. By the time the sun begins to rise, you will get there, and you can begin to look for the camp itself. We'll leave you there then, and return to Mr. Potterton and Miss Wentworth, who, after probably at least an hour or so, realise that Miss Radcliffe is nowhere to be seen, and these brigands, clearly with some plan, have spirited her away.
We got to get back and try and resolve things as quick as we can then. We still have the damned sleeping sickness to worry about. This is just another...
Yeah, sorry about that.
I would say, as like I turn the horse back and we're riding back, I would say we leave some kind of organization here to set up to get the body. We'll need to alert Asher that we were attacked by brigands, alert the constabulary, everything like that. That should be fine. I don't anticipate there'll be any concerns there. But we did send the man towards the tavern, hopefully so that we could intercept him. We also left the tavern in a bad state. We just needed enough time to lock down the situation. I would like to return to the tavern, maybe with a couple of men, and try and take charge of the situation. Ideally, take the two sleeping bodies. We can bring them to the doctor, put them there. And then we station a guard on the tavern in case they return, and we speak with the Reverend and see the doctor's research, and then maybe we're going to have to look back at the fountain. We should also check the summer house, of course.
George, we don't have time. This is so many things, George. We don't have time for any of that. And how's it going to look us bringing more people down to that basement? You know what's going to happen as soon as we get more workmen down there, as soon as we tell Asher about it? What, you think they're going to believe that it's some kind of I don't know, portal, some kind of, I don't know, a unknown thing from somewhere else, magic, whatever, that you think they're going to believe that? They're going to send more poor men in there as soon as they see it. They're going to send as many as they can in there, and all of these laborers, all of these workers, they're just going to fall asleep and they're going to die because of us if we do that. We can't bring anyone else into this. We can't just start bringing people into this willy-nilly. It's claimed so many people already, and Jane is so much more capable than she seems. You know, she's fine. She pulled herself out of that sleeping sickness. She came in after me and pulled me out. When I was trapped by that symbol, Jane will be okay.
Okay.
We need to focus on the sleeping sickness. We need to focus on the town. And we absolutely cannot bring anybody else into this. The summer house. They were trying to break into the summer house, yes. Whether
Why?
there's
Why the summer house, though? There's no reason for them to be there. They would have come to the house itself. If they had, they would have had a better...
Isn't...
We suspected they were involved at some stage of poisoning.
Well, I mean, this is the right place for another one of those stones, right?
Let's go back to the summer house and explore there. You're right. We need to focus on the sleeping sickness then. That's the bigger problem. If Captain Stone was here, he'd focus on that first, and that's got to be the first step.
And people in the house, in your home, they will have heard the gunshot.
My sister
You don't
can
need to
deal
call
with
the constabulary. They will arrive soon enough. Your sister will call them. We'll send a note to them. They will arrive.
That'll be fine. That'll be fine. You're right. Let's get to the summer house.
Okay. Pulling the horse around, you abandon the search. Probably, little do you know, Molly's not far behind, just crouched under a bush, hearing fragments and darting away, and scurrying off into the darkness. The horse is capable under your hands now. George, you help Miss Wentworth down, you tie it off towards the side, and the two of you step inside the house you played in as a child. Much of the rugs and things have been pulled away, furniture broken, pushed towards the side. But and some of the battened shutters have been broken away from the interior. There is a large capstone that would have been immensely heavy that's been pulled off towards the side and lies with a crack through it, slightly broken. And then a long rope is gone up the beams, way down into the darkness, and is tied off on the ground nearby. George, you recognize the capstone, having seen it as a child, although you'd kind of put that memory up to maybe like a dream or something that's pushed out of your head. It has that same symbol you've seen previously. And as the two of you now stand looking down into the ground, you just see a black pit. And until it goes lower, until eventually you can see like roots and things knotting around it. Miss Wentworth, who has been through that sort of power transposition, looking into the thing, you have a memory. This seems very similar to the place where you emerged entrapped under the earth.
This is where I ended up. This is when I was captured mentally by that symbol. This is where I ended up. Under here. Only one thing for it.
I'll go first. Here, you should take the lantern, and I'll hand it to you.
You pass the lantern across, and from up here, it only barely reaches the bottom. You can make out what looks to be a stone or something. It's like it'd be about, I want to say 3 or 4 feet tall, about a foot wide around, so like a pillar sort of shape, but still continues down to the ground. It looks as though the rope has been tied around it at the bottom, and it's in the process of being sucked out of the mud. You can, Mr. Potter, and if you can get to the rope, you can just slide down it to the ground.
I hesitate for a second just because I go, more lanterns is better. Our friend almost certainly had one. Can I quickly dart out of the summer house to the front door and check Arthur's body?
I tell you what, you check his body, and just see him lying now completely drained in the mud. A little bit of rain is beginning to fall down around him. He is completely still, except for a leaf sort of just beginning to brush along his beard and fly off past him. He has no lantern on him, but the horse with some extra supplies will. You can procure it, put a candle inside, and light.
And would you permit me to make some kind of check to see, as I stroll past, maybe check the body if I notice a family resemblance?
Yeah, absolutely. Make an intelligence roll here. The heavy beard and the change in costumes makes it a little harder, but there's a chance of seeing something.
That's a crit.
Is that a crit?
What?
Oh my god!
Damn, what are you doing? With
Standing
those
there,
dice?
I put all the pieces together.
I genuinely, I think we're honoring the hell out of this. Standing here for a moment,
I'm gonna reopen the window
you
just
have
in case
this
something bad's happened though.
Mr. Potterton, you have this really horrible thought for a moment where you don't know why, but you think it's Jane lying in the mud for a moment, and then you blink and that's gone, but there's still something here. There's a real similarity between the two, and as you look forward, behind the beard is a slightly sort of, softer jaw that you can imagine. There's the similar eyes, the ears, the lobes connected in that same way. I mean, you were quite keen on Miss Radcliffe, I think, and so you sort of, you when the opportunity presented itself, you may have admired her features or remarked internally upon their fairness. You see some of those in this man, and then you remember that yell that she had. That wasn't fear for you. That was fear for him. This is no strange brigand. This is Miss Radcliffe's brother. And this man, from the calluses on his fingers, from the blisters on his heels, has known hard work. He's not nobility. That brings into question Miss Radcliffe. Why, she's shown some, prodigal talent at being an investigator. Yes, sure, she's put things together. She's always had a keen eye on your affairs. Well, here's the thing. She's capable, but perhaps she's not quite all she seems either. And it is strange that she came to be in this summer house tonight. She was with you. She said she would come to meet you in the study, and she went outside for some reason. There's no reason for her to have done that. Why was she out here? They wouldn't have brought her all the way out here to take her hostage. That doesn't make any sense either. No. This isn't what it seems. Something is amiss. And Mr. Potterton's beginning to put the pieces together. Jackson?
Jane Radcliffe was also the only member of the upper class who caught the sleeping sickness.
Yes,
100%.
In town.
Was consistently tried to get me away from the tavern at the start by sending me off to get alchemical supplies, and we got followed by it's all falling into place.
Enjoy the crit, James. It will be your last.
Statistically, unless I make another, 150 rolls.
You roll. Is that 2 back-to-back? Very close.
No, there was a few in between.
Okay,
including
still
some failures.
pretty incredible. I think Miss Wentworth, George goes out to fetch a lantern and he doesn't return for a moment. When you come outside, he's looking down at the body and standing perfectly still as internally pieces begin to slot together.
George! George!
I think this is Miss Radcliffe's brother, and I've been taken in for a terrible fool.
Oh dear Lord. Oh, that does actually, there were a few times where I thought that I was on the verge of something, and then she convinced me otherwise, and,
Well, I shall never marry. And I grab the lantern and I go back inside.
The only thing I'll add is you got the lantern, head inside, steadfast, and like now looking to forcibly dampen any feelings you may have had, is the few pieces that you can't quite reconcile are some of the genuine moments of care and affection that she showed, and points where she did go a little above and beyond what was necessary, but not. It could have just been, trying to get close to you, trying to weaken you, and perhaps not. With a lantern in hand, you return and you can slide down the rope into the darkness.
Excellent.
I'm going to secure the gun.
Yep, you can.
To my back, I assume there was like a strap or something.
Are you heading down as well, Miss Wentworth? You're both going to go down?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't wanna. Don't wanna.
Okay. Mr. Potterton goes down first. Miss Wentworth checks the ropes and then slides down after. Mr. Potterton, as you reach the bottom and land wetly in the mud. It's pretty far down though, and there's no rain that can pool down here. And as you hold the lantern down, you can see that where this stone has begun to be pulled up, sucking out of the earth, black ichor is leaking out from it like it is the tap at the bottom of a reversed sink, and it's now beginning to flood up and out of it, trickling and beginning to fill. It comes up to like 2 or 3 inches and is beginning to lap over the tops of your boot where you land. You will also see, as Miss Wentworth begins to slide down, that you are in a, I want to say like 1 or 2 meter wide, like, hole. It's not very big. There are knotted roots all around it, and the stone itself, as you hold it up, has a symbol inscribed upon it, except it is not the same one that you have previously seen. It is a new shape that I will pass across to you now. Just need to confirm that I sent you the right one.
Okay. A new one, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That
There.
mix up every now and then. Gotta collect the set.
Yeah.
Hmm.
3 of 4 symbols found.
Is
Seek
there,
out
is there
the others.
anything like chipped away on it, or does it look pretty much intact? Is there
Is
anything
it like a foil edition?
Yeah, is there anything like
Is it
oozing
like
out
full
of?
card art?
I'm looking for anything that reminds me of like the underneath the tavern.
Yes, very, very much similar to Underneath the Tavern. It is in the same style as the others. I've clicked to show it, but I think it's taking a little...
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, there we go, it's come through now. I'll go ahead and show that to our audience. Yep. It is a simpler symbol. It seems to be the same general age as the others, but it has a different shape. If you have a occult or history roll, you could study it further.
I have a cult, enough of it. After my previous blast of interest, I will make an occult roll.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not.
Look, my luck doesn't last
points?
forever.
8 points?
Maybe this is worth lucking at this point, actually.
It might be.
We're at
I
the
think
pointy
it is.
end. We're at the
Yeah.
pointy end.
We have indeed found. We've all found the pointy end in one way or another.
I was saving my luck for the time I had to do a fight. I did the fight.
You did
I
the
used my
fight.
luck.
You have shown yourself to be a capable swordsman. All right, are you spending that luck, James?
I will, yes.
Okay. Go ahead and reduce that point. Crouching down, you scratch it, and you see that this symbol is one that you would recognize as like pre-Roman. This aligns with the tribes that existed here previously, and your brief study of them, like in that sort of like the moments between the scenes and things that we've had when you would have looked a little bit into some of the goings-ons. This suggests that the symbol is known as Uath, U-A-T-H, and some scholars translate it to mean hawthorn. It is often associated with like preparing for a task or getting ready for something. You also recognize this now, not the symbol itself, but begin to put it together to the story that you found, that handout of the that the Reverend got from the other family of the Taliri tribe, and the 4 symbols that they painted on themselves to conduct a ritual. And that if there are these 4 locations buried beneath the earth, these may be where they are located.
Just so I'm flashing back to that handout.
Yeah.
And as we're down there, sort of looking, I begin to speak through it and speak through what I found. So a ritual.
So this is the first symbol. So this is the beginning.
So what then? We find the other symbols, and that's good. Okay. According to our informant, the rite began with the tribe's elders drawing a particular symbol on a marker stone with the blood of a sacrifice. 4 symbols, 4 stones, 1 for each of the principal venti. 4 of the elders then stood back to back around some font or pool that lies at the temple's heart, their faces turned to the 4 winds.
Well, the temple's heart is definitely the tavern.
Yeah, it must be. Once in position, each of these elders drew the symbol they faced onto their forehead with yet more blood. As they stared sightlessly at the marker stones, they simultaneously took a draught of some black liquid from the font before quickly linking arms. A moment later, the 4 gained a look of exultation and fell into a deep slumber. Our captors assured us that had they so wished, the elders could have taken Unbeliever with them as an offering, had they too imbibed the liquid and joined arms with them. And... well... so if we want to get in, if we want to get to that place to try and help lead the others out by having them all drink, then the way to do that seems to be to find the other symbols and to I'm not sure if we can piece them together enough based with one. If we could find, if these are symbols that are somewhat in history, we have 2 of them, including the central one. We might be able to just locate the rest via research rather than have to actually visit the other locations. But
Do we need all of them? Do we need... There's only 2 of us. George, like, do we just do it with 2? 1 each?
maybe we could try. Otherwise, could we just? I mean, we could just drink the black ichor here. Would that work?
No, at the tavern. We do this one, we do another one. I mean... Oh, this is going to sound terribly gruesome. You have a sacrifice upstairs. You've already made one.
Oh,
Trace the symbol in blood, that's what it says.
you're right. We could use the blood of the recently fallen. It killed only feet away from the marker. It makes sense.
It might work. It might help. It might help. The ritual, I mean, we know that if the ichor gets into our system anyway, we fall asleep. But we know that that's not safe. This feels like a safeguard. The elders did it, and if I know anything about the men in charge, they tend not to do things that are not going to benefit them, that it's too much of a risk to them.
Finding another symbol is going to be complicated, and we have ichor here. I'm certain that they're connected. I think, forgive me for suggesting it, but we take the blood, we draw the symbol on one of us, we consume the draught here, one of us. The other takes care of affairs here, tries to lock things up and prepares to follow, gathers the reverend when time is appropriate, and hopefully the person on the inside can then do something in the meantime. Does that make sense?
I think it's the best shot we've got. Did we didn't find another symbol, did we? We didn't find the
You have seen
Eastern one?
Once more. No, you have seen the Eastern in the chapel at Stornley House, but you saw this same symbol that was in the center and was the capstone of this. You could draw the conclusion that beneath that capstone there is another of these. The capstones are on top of these little chambers that all possibly then through the earth connect through to the central temple. You also believe that to the south around the ash tree may be yet another. So you have an inkling of where more might be, but you are right. You are only 2 of you. You are, time is of the essence, etc.
George, I have seen another capstone.
Well,
and they're definitely connected because I ended up here somehow.
We could head straight there and try to get under it, but I think
I'm going to take this one. You take the horse. You go to the chapel at, was it Stornley House. Stornley House. You go to the chapel at Stornley House. There's a capstone there. Underneath that, there will be another one of these.
Okay.
We'll meet in the tavern, which is connected underneath. I'm sure it is. I look around? Is there like a tunnel or a...
Yes, there is like Kate stone and matter, and you believe that with this like pillar unplugged, underneath it may continue through to like yet more connections. Also looking down though, you can now see that the swelling ichor is now rising up above your boots and beginning to is now threatening to go over the top and down into your socks and things. Maybe time to retreat back upstairs.
Yeah, let's retreat out. I propose to you that there's still much to do on the surface here, and it is no guarantee that I'll be able to get into Stornley House and get the details. Perhaps we send in... I hate to... You've been in before, Mm-hmm. Maybe you go in. I'll try and keep things as safe as I can on the surface for a time, and then follow you if you can't resolve it yourself. At the very least, even if you do fall into a slumber, we'll know we have several days. I'll have my family take care of you while you rest, and we can...
You are needed up here more than I. I don't think we'll be able to reuse the same... Maybe we can, but there must be a reason for the facing the 4 winds, 4 people doing this at once. I don't know that we can reuse the same symbol for protection. I
doubt that we can. I'll try and deal with things up here, and then as soon as I can, I'll go and get one of the other ones to follow you.
Well, there's one in the chapel, I'm sure of that. Right.
Is there anything I can do to help to prepare you?
No sense waiting around. I guess.
Okay, I'll...
Help me back up, and
Okay.
I don't like the idea of this whole blood and sacrifice thing, but if it helps even a little bit.
I'll help you out.
Not keen on this.
I'm happy to entertain other ideas. As far as I see it, we basically have the option of trying to send one of us in now, or we do like a full back out and try and get in as a group.
With two of us here, unknown when the Reverend's gonna be back.
I think we're on a time
Jane absconded.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a revelation about Jane and Jane's brother.
I think we lay you out on
Gotta be.
I'll get like, it's probably the best I have. I get like the saddle blanket under the horse and like put it as like a little pillow and dust like a rug area so that you can lie down. And we'll prepare some of the draught, and then I'll get the blood from the fallen man. And
well, while you're doing that, I'll get the blood from the fallen man, since it seems like I have to do this.
True.
Okay. All right. Miss Wentworth,
Maybe
you...
draft. It's one of the 3 pronunciations of that word that is applicable here.
Miss Wentworth, you step outside, and the man already had writing equipment in his saddlebag. You can find a small ink pot, empty it, and fill it with blood.
I'm just gonna, because he would have fallen on his back enough for George to have seen his face, pierced through the heart. I'm just gonna like give him a little flippy.
Yeah, and drain it.
Upend him like a keg.
No.
and drain a little bit of that person juice into the ink pot.
Yeah. You can fetch a quill and step back into the summer house with your scarlet ink. Inside the house, now that you've done that, like, step back and forth once again, you, taking deep breaths, are reminded of, like, that deep pit and the shortness of breath, that emptiness flowing out from it, and you are fixed with a very deep fear of going inside there, of returning to these dreams. You remember what happened when Georgiana went through these voids and slipped, never came back.
However, I have been to the other place. It's just a place. It's just another place.
I want to...
I would like a sanity roll, I think. I don't know
Yeah,
how well
oh.
this is gonna go.
There goes my roll 20 roller. As you, I would definitely like a sanity roll. I would also like to know, as you're going through, what is motivating Miss Wentworth to take this step, if you know what I mean. Like, previously it was you know, Elizabeth was concerned, and then you realize that she may be sacrificed. This time, there's a village in danger, but it's not a personal tie.
Honestly, I think for Emma at this point, it's with her sister gone, with her parents gone, the foundation of her whole world has been completely shaken. You know, she was the bright, vivacious younger sister with all the prospects in the world. My skills are mostly in dancing and fashion. I have 80 in appearance and not much else. This is like, there was a point when her sister was basically turned to jam, where there was no going back, and this is not a society that is going to welcome her anymore. There is not a future for her here. She knows she's engaged to the Reverend, but that was the genuine affection between them is not the same thing as what she was raised to be and to have. And with no going back, the only way is forward. Whether the town is saved or not, whether she comes out of it or not, there's nothing really, there's not that much here for her.
Yeah.
I understand there was a term popped up in this period during the Regency, demi-monde, meaning half world, which is, you know, all those women who didn't play along actually went out and tried to do something with their lives and get a job. And were referred to as being in the
The
demi-monde.
demi-mondes.
And it seems that Emma, in two ways, is
Yeah.
stepping into the demi-monde.
And you know
term which
what?
comes up
That
very
kicks
often in
ass.
Rivers of London as well, something which might be.
And if we can do this, if this works, then maybe there is something here for her. But there's certainly no going back. So you gotta go forward.
Oh yeah.
And I
Once
think
more
it's
into
the
the breach.
paint the symbol, trace the symbol on the wall. And I think it's when Emma has to paint it in blood on herself. That's probably, I think I get that done, and then it's the sanity roll, because that's the bit that she's just like, oh, this feels bad and wrong.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay. You can,
But we're good. We're steady. We are steady.
as
Nice.
steady as one can be. You inscribe this hawthorn symbol on your forehead, written
Down the hawks.
in the ink of the recently slain. And as Mr. Potterton lays some blankets down for you to slumber, the next step should be to drink the ichor. Drink deeply.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Mr. Potterton, how are you preparing for this?
I create as comfortable a spot as I can for Miss Wentworth. I get ready to have the flurry of staff from my house that I know will probably arrive in a second all arrive. I'm appropriately planning things out. I'm okay. So we're gonna need to get, you know, the men to take the body, and then when my sister comes, I'll have her watch over Miss Wentworth. I can use the excuse of no one should see Miss Wentworth because she collapsed from all the excitement. That means that and then I trust my sister enough to be like, don't wipe that symbol off. You need to watch her and keep her safe, kind of thing. And I'm just logisticking at this point.
Okay. Alright. You settle down, prepare to keep watch, receive your family, and we'll do so shortly, as they will make themselves apparent. Miss Emma sits with the symbol painted and a like bowl of this black Ebon liquid. Already, as it's like in your hands, the liquid's trying to crawl up the sides of it to reach its tendrils and pluck at your fingers.
Yeah. I'm just gonna knock it back.
Okay. You raise it to your
waiting.
lips. You raise it to your lips, and for the first time, it's as if the liquid shows restraint. It almost spiderously clings to the bowl, resisting gravity for a moment before it tumbles over and touches the top of your teeth, and then suddenly swells down the roof of your mouth over the back of your throat and plunges into your stomach, wrapping coldly beneath you and carrying with it the winds. You let out this like massive exhale as it does so, as your own lungs are release everything within them, and when you draw it in, it's this cold wash of air, like liquid filling you. You splutter, cough, but from Mr. Potterton's perspective, she drinks, her eyes flutter, and she falls to sleep. Miss Wentworth. Oh
Is there
no.
a slight expression of exultation?
There is. It almost seems peaceful.
Meanwhile, in Dreamworld,
Miss Wentworth, can you please give me a power roll?
yeah, this will be fun.
Oh my god.
Well, now.
My
Who'd have thunk it?
Not
Yes.
bloody bad.
So
Yeah, now what, Dave? Now what?
as you
Yeah, no.
as you drink from this, you feel like liquid race down to fill your lungs, stomach, everything, as it voids the air of this mortal plane to replace it with that of another. Your eyes flicker, you resist the urge to vomit, and when they open again, you're lying prone on the ground. There's no blanket underneath you. it's these craggy, sharp rocks like you find by the sea near rock pools. And as your hands push out and sort of begin to rise you can feel smooth, round stones pushed into them at different sections where gems are buried beneath the earth. Ica, like that you drank, pushes up past the rocks to form massive, thick trees rising up into the sky where they net together to form a roof of gnarled, swirling black branches, behind which are different constellations as you gaze at stars you've never, only once seen before.
Oh.
You
I'm
are
not good
right
at that,
back.
so I'm not good at astronomy, so I wouldn't notice that. But I know where
There's
this
something
is.
odd about it, at least. You are back in that place you fell into, sliding between the long corridors, like little gaps and shifts, except it's changed. In the year since you've been here, something has upset the ground, and this black ichor is beginning to push out of it. It's not just like trees have grown here. It's like the rocky ground was surrounding something, holding it together, and now it is beginning to punch through, and these trees are just limbs reaching out in an attempt to escape and push further. You're also aware that you're not alone. You can hear, like, shifting in trees in the distance, things moving around, and at one point you're like, as something flaps and flies through the sky away from you. You are dressed in a simple, like, night shift, like something you might sleep in, and where you had placed your shotgun down is a, like, what would be like like you might find in a museum, a bow and a quiver with a number of arrows. Depending on how many shotgun shells you carried, it would be the equivalent. I would say maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
That's delightful.
There is also
Delightful.
other
That's very
things
good.
that you had on your person. There are sort of medieval equivalents.
Oh my god.
The quill you are holding is now a stick of charcoal. Your shift is the same yellow colors you carried. The little pins you carried are now bone fishing hooks. Things like this. I'm gonna need a sanity roll as you shift in space.
Yeah.
It is totally fair. You got a bow and arrow.
We're not. You know what? I'm gonna take the hit on this one.
You
Okay.
can't luck sanity.
Can you go ahead
Yeah.
and lose a d6 for me, please?
Yeah, that tracks. Let me just check where I'm at.
Well, I think during the Regency era, bow and arrow was considered a like
It's a woman's,
pastime kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D6.
Yes, please.
Nice.
Okay. Not too bad. Once again, an involuntary. You sort of like stand up and sort of like pull yourself up as you look around, and you're familiar with this place. You remember being here, but you're able to settle yourself and remind yourself of your mission. Where are you heading? You are completely alone in the woods. Well, except for the sounds scuttering in the distance.
Now, I've obviously been deposited somewhere slightly different to the woods with the lake and the whatnot. If I can reach something that resembles higher ground, I would like to see if I am just in a different part of the same landscape, or if I have ended up somewhere different altogether.
Yeah. So these trees block off like easy ways to look around. You could try to climb one to get a sense of
thanks.
things. Otherwise, you'll just need to kind of walk in a random direction for a while.
I'm not good at it. Can I make a listen roll to potentially hear running water? Because if there was a lake with the blue water or something like that, surely there is an inlet. So if I can hear, I know I can hear things creeping through the trees and such. But if there's a
Possibly.
listen roll,
Give me a listen roll. Go ahead and give me a listen roll. We'll see what this reveals.
I'm not good at this, so yeah, cool.
You sort of pause and listen. No sound of running water. sounds of something moving once again, but it's not coming this way just yet. Your heart sort of thundering as you're through all this, and you are starkly alone. And there's no clear way out.
Okay, I'm just gonna start walking. But I'm gonna be thinking, this is a dreamland. I wanted to bring my shotgun with me and I got a bow. I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to direct my thoughts as intensely as somebody with 60 in intelligence can direct their thoughts. And I'm going to focus on the blue water, and I'm gonna kind of run through like a, almost like a mnemonic in my mind of every single person who I know is asleep.
Yeah.
And be thinking about them, picturing their faces in my mind, and then the blue water and their faces in the blue water, and go through and focus it pretty much entirely on that, in the hopes that the same, I guess, mental power of whatever power exists here, whatever power brought me here with some approximation of a weapon, can also get me some kind of direction.
Yeah. I love that idea of focusing in on something that you're familiar with. You can try and picture the clear pool that's been described to you, but you've only heard of that through like adjacent, like it's been described to you. Of the people that are dreaming here, the person who you're most familiar with would be Dr. Parsons.
It'd be the doctor. I'd be thinking of the doctor, yeah.
Can you... So, there's a cracking skill associated with the dreamlands, which is called which is dreaming. And through it, you can try to actually affect the space around you, try and pull it to your reality.
Mm-hmm.
And
Minnie got into that, didn't she?
yeah, we're right back. Look for the strange cat.
Look, I'm aware of the dreaming.
Despite Miss Wentworth, although Miss Wentworth doesn't know it, this is a pocket of the Dreamlands. This is a space, and there is the ability to influence it. Especially with that extreme power roll. Alex, could you please open the dreaming skill at, let's start it at 5%, although I believe it's normally 1, just so that there is a chance here, and I will ask you to roll on that to see if you can begin to influence this space around you as you try and focus in on Dr. Parsons and draw yourself towards him.
Just gonna add it under additional.
Or maybe add it under survival. That seems appropriate.
And under fighting. Ow, bang, crash.
Okay.
Strong start. That, can you?
It's a big hit.
Can you like that?
Nah.
Can you like that?
Nah.
No.
Miss Wentworth?
I don't think I can.
It's a big hit.
No. Nah, I
Okay.
can't.
Miss Wentworth doesn't quite realize what she's even capable of. As you begin to walk through here, you picture Dr. Parsons in his surgery, sleeping, and try to find him or his space in this world. But for now, you cannot find it. And alone...
I'm probably just not focused enough. I'm trying, and I know what I have to do, but I'm also pretty scared, pretty lost, a little bit concerned I've made a terrible, terrible decision, so I can't help, my mind can't help but wander.
As your
And
mind...
I can't help but be distracted by the sounds and, ooh.
As your mind wanders and kind of begins to take dark thoughts begin to take root, you have taken the description of a ritual.
Yes.
That was, so a ritual occurred. It was then described to the Romans. The Romans
Yes.
then wrote it down. It sits in a library for ages. You take it, erase four of the 5 steps. You are not at the temple in the center.
Correct.
You have not inscribed 4 of the symbols. You have inscribed 1. You have
Indeed.
not linked arms with 3 companions. You have done it
Yes.
by yourself. And you have
Indeed.
drunk this ichor and plunged yourself into a dark space.
That's
yes.
true.
Miss Wentworth, you would begin to consider that you may have made a
Might have
very
hacked it.
grim mistake. And
May have
it's
hacked
like
this.
each time your heart thunders with fear, when it pumps again, it's quieter. You're actually getting less afraid because something else is beginning to creep inside you. It seeks through the rocks here and the trees and the cool night air. There is a great emptiness here, and it has intent behind it. You are walking on the surface of a prison. Something was locked down here long ago, and through Georgiana's attempted spell, a chink in that armor cracked, and the first spiraling ichor plunged forth and began to wrap this world and reach into ours again. And now that you have returned here, whatever that thing is only barely being held at bay, and it is now beginning to reach into your heart all alone and beseech you. It is asking of you, for now, that you let it out. There's no words, all of these are feelings, these are impressions that you get. There's no parade of images through your mind, no flashes to the people that locked it in here, just a desire. It does not want to be shackled here in the dark. It wants to be free again, and this emptiness could fill you. It could take away your fear. It could take away your longing. You wish your sister was back, and that keeps you from sleeping some nights. It could take all of that away. You would be empty, cold. You would be yourself in some capacity, and you could be joined with it too.
Wrong about that.
Doesn't sound so bad.
Is my extreme power roll still holding, or am I making another one?
Your extreme power roll's holding for now.
Okay.
This is
now.
what's
Where it's
beginning
there,
to press its
but
way
it's also
inside.
very not consistent with Emma's own personality, and I think I'm recognizing that of, oh, that's not me. That's not me. These are not my real thoughts. This isn't me.
It's also, as I said, for now, it's just asking.
Mm-hmm.
It's these first quiet probes. Perhaps
Did it
next
say
comes the
please?
bargaining, and then later come the demands.
Maybe anger. Yeah. There's probably at least one really annoying song that I was made to learn on some terrible instrument that I'm extremely bad at, and I'm just gonna start humming the worst song I know, like the catchiest, like those real earworms that are just annoying and bad.
Hell yeah.
I'm just gonna start humming one of those. Like, I'm going to make.
Rajaka.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my head, the inside of my brain, the most inhospitable place for anything to be, just in a really like frustrating, annoying kind of way.
Yeah. Hell
I'm
yeah.
gonna think about, fluffy layers of colored lace and annoying nursery rhymes. I'm going
Anything.
to make the inside of my head frivolous, womanly things
Hell yeah. And just
in the
fill it
most
with that.
irritating way possible.
Because this thing is empty. It's trying to create a void inside you, and you are just plunging stuff into it as quickly as you can muster to just keep that space at capacity.
Thinking about fashion and dancing.
Hell yeah. An incredible strategy. We will leave Miss Wentworth there for a time as she wanders beneath these distant stars and looks for anyone else here who she can help or maybe can help her.
With a slightly weird skip in her step that's almost like a waltz.
Amazing. Okay. Back on this world, as a Potterton,
Back
you
at the
see
ranch.
Miss Wentworth fall to sleep.
Implement, plan, damage control, stat.
What would you like to do? Your sister will make herself known very shortly.
So my overall plan with all of this is basically to try and set up, like, I need to buy time and smooth everything over. So I'm going to try and get my staff to be like, hey, there was a thief that came onto the property and attacked me, and this known bandit, is now dead. So we need to do the standard procedure of informing the authorities about that, or whatever the procedure would be. Meanwhile, oh, so sad, Miss Wentworth collapsed as a result of all the excitement, and will be cared to by my sister. Go with me on this, okay? They need to put her in a bed and just make sure she gets like water, the standard sleeping sickness care regime. I'm going to need to, longer term, get in contact with the Reverend and Dr. Parsons, just make sure that stuff is moving there. Try and figure out what's happening in town in regards to the inn. Basically, I don't want people wandering down, finding bodies, and thinking I'm a murderer or something like that. So, need to deal with that situation. Then,
and if anyone asks, "What about Jane?" You're just like, "Who?"
I think that was previously much higher on my list, but I think that now it's
dropped
like
a few runs.
Okay. I think that probably just tell people that there are thieves in the forest, and that's like the sort of a low enough reaction, but also moving the correct direction for that. Once I've smoothed things over there, see if I can action hero my way into getting another symbol so I can follow. Mechanically, what I'm thinking, because it's a fairly long and complex thing, in my idea, I'm basically, and this is sort of what I was trying to set up beforehand, I'm basically making a reputation roll to kind of, it's the same thing that I did with all the debts for all these years. Not only debts now, there's also a lot of like social debt and pending legal cases. And I'm just gonna do what I'm best at, move things around. Yes, we're gonna resolve that. Let's set up this meeting and let's do this. And listen, just for now, keep Miss Wentworth in the bed, and we will deal with that situation when it comes due. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love it. Okay. Go ahead and give me a reputation roll to handle this first wave. This is gonna be your family and everything, and then we'll kind of spread that forth to just ticking some boxes. With your sister in hand, you can, and you already had told her a few of these pieces. Some of this will be like basically stowing Miss Wentworth in a bed or something can be handled. It's basically the reputation hit that will follow.
Sure. Here's the reputation roll.
Oh.
Not great.
Okay. Things, we talked about the cascade, kind of, it's starting. Someone who was in your care has been abducted, and either you were a massive fool or she has been taken while she was being watched after you. You can see it beginning to slip. Also, Miss Wentworth sleeping. Your sister promises to take her and watch her for a time. But should the Reverend or should someone come asking after her, there's not much they can do. They'll have to turn her over and then look, here's her. Also, this hole in the ground that your family had built its summer house atop of, now broken, and with this strange liquid seeping up from the ground. The police will need to be notified. There's unfortunately nothing that can be done about that. You do need to find Miss Radcliffe, and they will begin to look into this. I'm going to ask you to immediately take a D6 of reputation hit, and you can see it beginning to get worse from here. People may begin to call in debts. You may begin to lose friends. Doors are closing to you, Mr. Potterton. All because you kind of tried to do the right thing.
It'll be fine. I take one.
Keeping your hand on the steering wheel for now, trying to manage, trying to mitigate.
And if I can flavor it, I think I think that probably George's approach is to just take the less hit immediately. So as soon as anyone starts to sort of go the cascade, it's the yes, you're so right. Let's just leap straight to a ledge down here, which is actually not as bad as it could be. You're right, we were fooled. We were taken in and horribly robbed. And you know what? It's the worst. And now you're prying into us in this moment of grief. Oh, and by the way, don't tell you how I had to kill the thief with my bare hands. And actually, that's pretty cool. yeah, so that's probably the angle I'm taking.
Oh yeah, I love it. That said, with the fact it's seeping out. Things are being escalated. Yes,
Sure.
probably the Asher the judge will probably become involved soon. Constabulary will be alerted. You are going to pass on the information that you believe the brigands are in the Pendlehaven Woods. Is that correct? You'll pass that along.
Yes.
Okay. Do you alert them to what's happening in the Four Feathers Inn?
This is a little bit beyond kind of my player knowledge of the situation, I think. In terms of, I kind of defer to my character's expertise here. The one thing I don't want to have happen is get done for murder, but I think that's more of a case of
They
if
are
someone walks in and
asleep.
sees bodies.
They
Yeah,
are
they're
asleep. You were the ones down there. You sent them down there. Again, it's reputation hit, but like this sleeping sickness is beginning to go around. People are beginning to know about it. It's spreading. It's getting worse. It's sure as hell not good. But no, you probably wouldn't get it done. You're not going to immediately get shackled and hauled off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this is more like
in the spirit of trying to sort of then take as soon as stuff starts to cascade, take an immediate hit to try and like stop the plug. It's a little hack off the diseased limb.
Yeah.
I probably do kind of come clean about everything I can here to try and start to weave an excuse that can explain away everything.
This will kind of happen over the next hours, whatever things escalate into. Some of this may not even come to pass if actions happen quickly, but from here, Constabulary will be alerted and you notify them of the Pendlehaven Woods when that comes amid. You will tell them the Four Feathers Inn have something in the basement, needs to be bogged up, and that there are people down there. Do you mention Stornley House and that you believe there to be another thing there, and try and parlay this into I need to go there and break open their chapel to find another symbol, or are you gonna leave that to your own knack?
I think that I don't raise Stornley House yet.
Okay.
I'm thinking that I can probably just get in there by myself is what I'm hoping, or one of the other ones. And I'm also leaving it in the back pocket as something where I can, if people start to go, how could the Pottertons have built their house on something like this? I can go check out Stornley House. It's not just us, to try and throw, if I throw everyone under the bus, none of us get thrown under the bus.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. All right, you begin to send some letters out. You inform your sister. She takes Miss Wentworth and places her in the guest bed where Miss Radcliffe was sleeping not so long ago. You also still see Miss Radcliffe's trunk to the side, which was locked. You could force that if you wanted to.
He wants to.
I think I probably do at this stage.
A simple key won't suffice, and you see it to be actually, hey, this wasn't just a decorative lock. There's actually a bit of meat to these things here. You get a gemmy or something, you're able to have it open. Jackson, what might Mr. Potterton find in Miss Radcliffe's trunk? And these are possibly some of your more practical implements.
Of course. I mean, there'd be a couple of knives and daggers and the like, at the very least. Oh my goodness. I have 40 locksmiths that I completely forgot about. You'd find a couple of lockpicks in there.
I think that's how you
Why
made the
heck not?
locks and stuff too. These are quite, I think it takes you're like, oh, we actually have to cut these off. Yeah, we're gonna get the saw. Possibly some implications of your alternate identities, because Molly and Jane are probably not your only two. You've got the disguises here to take on other roles.
For sure. Yeah. Maybe some pieces of paper or letters that reference other names, other female names that are addressed, to Miss, Genevieve.
Yeah.
Boucher.
Hell yeah.
And the like. Oh man, I've discovered last few sessions I'm really bad at coming up with names on the fly. That's why all those GM screens for all the different games have a pre-listed
names,
name.
100%.
List of names. They're for me. Those
Yeah,
are for
no,
me.
they're for me too. I hate fly names.
100%, yeah.
As long as you have the name, you can come with the character. That's fine. It's the name that's the sticking point.
Yeah. That's where you get
I
stuck.
totally agree. I imagine also some jewelry that looks more like you have different levels. This is wealthier, this is nicer. There is a sack of currency that where you were tapping into to maintain your wealth at Mr. Potter. You will find close to dry. She has spent the last of her basically bluff money in the area and was relying on debts and your own good charity. I don't think there's any like clear like, all right, Molly, here's the plan. You go, because I think that would all be like, you guys are careful enough that would all be verbal. I don't think there is a direct like, we are here in the woods, because you would have spoken to Arthur about that. You guys play it pretty careful. But what this clearly is not the trunk of a distressed noblewoman. This is the trunk of a charlatan, and possibly worse.
So I think my plan is that the next nighttime when nothing is happening, I'm going to creep in to try and get one of those symbols and follow. But until then, I am going to start to seed the grand plan of like deflecting and protecting reputation. So I'm preparing like to throw criminals under the bus and show how utterly we were fooled, potentially even like managed to use some of those fake identities myself to like leverage lines of credit temporarily to like I'm playing all of that until
so I think there's stuff you can do pretty directly. So you can wait till next night for sneaking. You also could go, so Stormley House is a like, it's like as to do as you. Actually, there's probably more money. They have staff and things. Sneaking in at night is going to be remarkably difficult. You could outpace your reputation cascade and go there in the daytime today to try and get in. That said, breaking into a chapel and moving the capstone is unlikely to be popular, but if you only need the symbol, you might be able to do it, reset it, and get out. You could try and do that. Alternatively, you could call upon the North Lakes. The cousins definitely had some understanding of what was happening here, and as you and Miss Emma were saying, you're short on allies. You know, the Reverend's calling Miss Radcliffe is not who she appeared. Maybe you need more help.
These are all candidates in my head, but I think that I perhaps things would have escalated to the point where George is so panicked he forgoes all of this decorum. But I kind of like the idea, in true Regency style, of him being paralyzed by this reputation stuff. I think that his plan is to continue with that, and then if nighttime happens and he doesn't think he can make it in, which he probably can't. I'm probably going to go back to the witch, actually, and say, I killed the guy who stole your chickens. There's some old justice there. Help me get in. I think I'm actually going to lean in on her.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so for the night at least, you're going to sort of send a couple of letters out and remain, and then do a bit of damage control in the day, and then probably travel again during night. So, in the dream state, time passes a little flexibly. So Miss Wentworth is only just now, moving from place to place, not quite sure where she is. We're going to check in on Molly, who will be the first to reach the Pendlehaven Woods. You've moved all through the night. You got a bit of a sleep in the other day, but
I slept most of yesterday afternoon, so
you did.
You're doing too badly.
Still definitely playing catch up. Can I get you to make a Constitution roll just to see how absolutely exhausted you are? Okay. You are tired. Your feet hurt, and for all of your, rebuttals, you have possibly gone a little soft. It's been a month or so of cakes and corsets.
Sure.
You are now like powering through woods with a knife in your belt, like you're back, baby. But oh man, there is something to be said for carriages. They really nailed those things. God damn, that was a great invention. This sucks. You reach the Pendlehaven Woods, and you have an approximate location of the camp where your the Blistered Heels are staying. You also have an approximate location of again, we kind of had an interesting little spree here where the full information was never handed over. I actually don't think you know too much about Old Meg and the ash tree and things, because that was
I know nothing about this.
Yeah, so I actually
that was a session I missed.
Both,
so Jackson knows
both
nothing
character
about
and
this.
player do not know about this. So
Jim just mentioned a witch, and I was like,
Wait, what?
yeah, of course, the witch. That must have been something I wasn't paying attention for. But no, I think I have a good
I don't think
excuse.
you were
I think
there
that was
for.
a session I wasn't here for.
And then in character, we never had the handover of information. So this kind of works perfectly. Yeah, all right. Well, there may or may not be a witch in the woods. Don't worry about that. You push through underbrush and eventually come to, as the sun is beginning to rise, and these are like deep enough woods. They're not super sinister. There's game in them, people hunt in them. Your little band of brigands has laid out some tents, a campfire, there's stoves, some supplies and things, in a little grove where you can see, even it's nighttime, there's probably 3 of them sleeping, and you'll see one of them who is supposed to be keeping watch. Right, sort of, that man in a vest with a stovepipe hat pushed low over his eyes, sleeping deeply. Clearly, they're keeping watch. If they've been here for months or so, they're kind of just hanging out. They've also clearly been stealing things from nearby areas. There's some washing that they've pinched for some reason, just so there's a line run out, like what looks to be some women's clothes, some men's clothes, just stuff that they've taken. There's some crates over towards the side with overflowing with produce and stuff that they've just been lifting from the nearby farms. There's a string of dead chickens in various states of being plucked, eaten, cooked. There is a heavy pot over the fire with a kind of constant stew going. I think it's down to 3 members here. The one sleeping and 2 in some of the tents, because little Dickie's asleep, your brother's dead, and Baxter you've outpaced.
Little Dickie's asleep, still down the... I was going to say, little Dickie's stuck down the well.
Oh, boy!
No, that's me. I'm stuck down the well.
Miss Wentworth stuck down the well.
So there's 3 here.
Yeah.
In total. And plus Baxter, 4, plus me, 5. And that's our strength. Good to know. And of course, these chaps' names are...
there's the rub.
Salt Pete. I always have an NPC called Salt Pete.
Salt Pete?
Because that's the first thing I can remember. That's the big guy asleep.
That's perfect, thank you.
And then the 2 in the tents are, of course, Long Jones.
Yep.
And
Ted.
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 What?
That's scary.
How did you know I was going to say Ted?
It's that single brain cell making itself known again.
That was weird. I swear to God, I was going to say Ted, and then you said Ted.
It's that
Freaky.
single brain cell just spurting to life.
Okay.
Or sputtering and dying again.
So I'll stride into the camp and just kind of shove Salt Pete over so that he wakes up, and just say, "Boom, you're dead," and then just keep on walking, and then knock on the tent, and just say, "Jones, you still got that writing art arm?" Because Jones is the only one who knows how to write.
Hell yeah.
Get your letter out.
You just see the feet. Long Jones is long, very tall. It's not an ironic nickname, he actually is. His feet stick out the bottom of the Ted. One of the shoes is like that thing where the heel is, the pad at the base has completely come away, so you can see his toes sticking out of it. They sort of flash upwards, and he begins to pull himself out. And blinking into the now waking sunlight. Ted continues to slumber, curled up like a dog, almost on a mat at the highest end and completely disregarding it. Jones comes out, scratching at his undershirt, and he goes, "Molly, yeah, writing what do you need it for?"
Get your pen out.
Sorry, where's Arthur?
Not here. Get your pen out.
Right. He heads over to a little desk set up towards the side, snaps it open, and inside is actually quite a nice array of stationery. You'll notice it's missing a few things, like the inkwell and quill that are with Arthur are gone. He'd taken a few pieces. He can write too, so that if he needed to. But he steps in and taps his thing. He says, "Right then, what's the message?"
We have Miss Rollins. We have Miss Jane Rollins. No, Radcliffe. No, sorry. That was a player mistake, not a character mistake.
He bundles it up
Jane
and
Radcliffe.
tosses it into the fire. Starts again.
We have Miss Jane Radcliffe. We will expect, and then I don't know exactly what that man money is. It's like I got to keep all these people happy. For 3 months of work.
I'm also not sure what the numbers are. You choose an appropriate amount. Yeah.
X £100, which is going to keep the surviving gang members happy with the amount of time it took.
Yeah.
To be handed over at the tavern. Don't care how you get it. Bring in debts if you have to. But this is expected in return for Miss Radcliffe's continued existence.
Jones scratches all this out as Salt Pete stands over you, breathing slightly heavily in your ear as he is wont to do. He can't read, but he hears you talking, and he goes, Radcliffe. And who's that?
That's me, up till now.
Ah.
You've taken me hostage. Very well done. Very clever of you.
I'll get the rope.
Now payday's here, all right?
He heads off to go and get some rope to tie you up as hostage.
Who is?
Salt Pete.
Okay, fine. That's fine. He can have some ideas.
He's fine over there.
And then I'll turn to Ted, who's the only one left, I guess.
Yeah, he's still curled up in the tent, sleeping.
Oh, I'll check in the tent and say, where's little Dickie?
What do you mean, where's little Dickie?
Where's little Dickie? I gave him a job. Is he not back yet? He's still working in the tavern.
No. Well, hang on, slow down. He was with Arthur. He was with Arthur and Baxter. They went into... Weren't they meeting with you?
Yeah. Yeah, they met me.
Hang on. What's happening?
Baxter's on the way
Where's...
back here.
Yeah, where's Arthur?
He's dead.
He's dead.
Yep, and now we've got to turn things around in our favor.
Well, hang on. That changes things.
No, it does. It does change things, right? Because you were all doing what Arthur said, and it got him killed. And now you got to do what I say, because I can get you out of here alive.
Well,
that's the change.
Well,
Any more questions? Ted, you're not good at questions, mate. You're not good at questions. It's much easier to just say, yes, ma'am, get on with it, all right?
Yes, ma'am, get on with it.
That's a boy. All right.
Okay. He gets out. Can I get you to make... So this is before Baxter arrives. I want to see how much of a foot in the door you have when he gets here. Do you want to do
exactly what I'm trying to do? Like, by the time he gets here,
you've
I'm
got
already in charge.
I love
before
it.
Even these guys have noticed that I'm in charge.
You've just taken it. Someone's got to take the reins. I will say, and with no one here, they were kind of just lying around eating chickens. Like, they really do need direction. They're not one for questioning. I
pushed Salt Pete over and said, like, you're dead because you fell asleep.
Yeah.
So he's on the back foot as well.
100%.
That's how you get him.
Can I get you to make I think it's intimidation if you're going for, like, take him, or it could be charm if you're kind of, like, just settling back into the routine. I can even see fast talk. Think intimidation?
Intimidate. Yeah. I'm like a drill sergeant here. I'm pointing out that, falling asleep on the watch, don't know what's going on, asking too many questions. Are you people professionals or not?
Okay.
Clearly, you're going to have to work a bit harder to impress me.
Okay. So, could you please give me an intimidation test, and could you go ahead and take a bonus dice on that? As you did get here first, you have the setting.
Oh.
Nicely done.
Hard success.
That is a hard success. By the time Baxter arrives, pushing through the he clearly got a bit lost, paused to clear himself up a bit, but he's drenched with sweat. You've been here for a good half hour to an hour or so, and you've kind of gotten them on side. Jones has drafted up the letter. Salt Pete is standing by. His first thought was, you are actually the hostage and we'll tie you up. You've dissuaded him of that, and he's now gone back to keeping watch with his eyes. At least one of them is now open. And Ted's sort of standing gormlessly watching the whole thing, and is actually probably just returned to cleaning some of his firearms, because that's what he knows best. Baxter comes in a little hot-headedly, and is going to come up towards you. Mole, we need
Baxter, so nice of you to join us at last.
We need a word, Mole. I need to talk to you.
Yep, we're all here. Let's hear it. Enjoy your walk in the park.
Arthur's dead. Understand?
Yep, we know. We all understand. Baxter, glad to see you've caught up with us.
He put the plan together, Mole. He let us.
How was the plan that killed him?
I think we need to have a talk about who's in charge. Who's making the calls from here on out. How we're getting paid. 'Cause understand, Mole, we're 2 months down the hole while we've been waiting for you, and we need to be compensated for that.
That's right. Jones, how are we going to be compensated? Read it out.
We have Miss Radcliffe. You will pay us X £100 to be delivered at the Four Feathers Inn. And then if not, we can start sending fingers.
Right. Any more questions of Baxter, or can we get back to work?
Oh, we can get back to work. Who's
Right.
delivering it?
Well, they've seen your face so far, so we haven't seen anyone else's. Why don't you go for a walk back?
I just got here.
I know. And yeah, they've only seen your face, Baxter. Do you need me to explain it again slowly? They've only seen your face. So you're the only one who can deliver the letter, if you're spotted. You're smart enough to see that, aren't you?
Fine.
Or do I need to
Give it
recruit a
here.
different right-hand man?
He snatches the letter out and gives you a dirty look and says, "This isn't how things were handled under Arthur, Mole."
You just said it yourself. You came in here, and the first thing you said is things are going to change around here. Well, guess what? Things are changing.
Fine. I'll deliver it. I'll come back when it's done. He turns
Right.
around and makes his way back to the woods.
So Pete,
Yeah.
what do we know about the area? You've been camped here the whole time?
Yeah,
Haven't moved?
there's an old woman up a little further in, taken some of her things, pretty much rooted the whole garden. That's getting empty, but it's fun. She screams a bit when you come near. Good for a hoot
Hold on,
and a holler.
have you been camped here the whole time? You've been moving around like you meant to.
You know, Mole.
Have you been
no one
moving
really should-
around or not?
We don't really. Arthur was. I mean, he's at a tavern. You were up at whatever. Didn't feel necessary.
No, pack it up. We're moving.
Right, you are, Mole. He goes up.
You start
begins
packing
to.
up. Ted, have a scout around, see if you can find another spot.
What are we
It is
looking
where
for?
I get a little bit. Just a new spot. A new spot. You got to move around. You got to start drawing attention, right? How many folks going nearby have seen the smoke in the night, seen the campfire, seen the smoke coming up from your washing?
I think we're deep
You don't
enough.
know, do you?
We haven't been washing, so that's safe enough. It seems deep enough in the woods. I just feel
Doesn't matter how deep you are. You just got to keep moving around.
fine. Okay, all right. I'll have a look. He plants a couple of pistols in his belt and scurries out to look for another place to camp. Salt
This is
Pete
when I
begins to break
might-
it down.
This is when I might beg a metagaming intelligence
Yeah.
roll. I know about two of the markings. I know about the temple, and if I were to look at a map, I could see that that's a triangle. But you know, is there any chances I start thinking about, well, we got to move around? Where's the map of the
Yeah.
woods? Oh, hold on. Bonk, bonk.
Bing bong
Is
bang.
it a
Yeah.
triangle or is it a cross?
If you go ahead and give me an intelligence roll, I can definitely point you in the right direction here.
Please do. Do you need
Okay.
a hard?
Nope. I believe you are aware of you were present for the ritual and the description of it, at least. I think you have that knowledge. It's in mind now. You can't refer to it, right? Because you got that at the North Lakes, and then you were there for that. It was then leaving from that where you guys split up. So you are aware that they talk about the four venti, basically being the cardinal directions, and through that you can deduce that, well, one's in that direction, the other's Stornley houses, so it's east and the west. There should be one to the south and north. If it's equidistant, being the distance, because Stornley House and the Mornington
Equidistant from the tavern.
are both the same. Just do that to the south, and that puts it bang in the Pendlehaven Woods. If anything, you have a reasonably accurate area for it. You can tell Ted to scout that area for a camping spot if you want.
Yeah. That's it.
If you direct him to that area,
That's what I got.
He lingers a little bit and goes, somewhere else. Maybe it's why don't we go deeper in? That area's a bit.
What's the matter, Ted? Bugs? You're not afraid of bugs, are you?
No, it's not bugs. It's
What is it then?
creepy. You know, it's like camping
What
in a
is
grave
creepy?
site. You just don't do it.
Are there any graves?
No, but there's got that feeling, doesn't it?
Let's have a
Salt
look
Pete
then.
kind of nods and goes, "Yeah, it's not right, Mole."
Let's have a look then. Let's see what you big boys are so afraid of.
All right, better follow me. It's not far from that old woman's place, so best to hush. Eh?
Righto.
Okay. Follow me then. He begins to lead you through woods, you and Ted. the others breaking down the camp, preparing to follow you with it. You push through and eventually arrive at a clearing in which there is a little rising hill, much of the grass on which is dead or beginning to fade, and at the summit of which is this tall, grey ash tree that rises up into the sky by itself and almost completely leafless. You can see its roots are slightly grown out of the earth, wrapped around stones and things, and true to the men's word, it is a little eerie here.
It's unseasonable.
It does feel
summer.
a bit like crossing a threshold you weren't invited through, walking into a graveyard. That said, you've made a career of being places you're not supposed to, and you regularly trespass. It's like your favorite thing to do. So you're pretty comfortable doing it, I think.
I'm going to stride right in, and I'm looking for this symbol.
Okay. You walk straight in.
Which I know, which I've seen in two other spots.
Yeah, Ted lingers a bit and then follows behind you looking nervous, probably more keen to be with someone than to be by himself. He's not terrified. He's just sort of shouldn't be here. As you get towards the thing, you can find it without much hunting. There is one of the rocks that it's not around is this huge circular stone, similar to the capstone that Baxter and Arthur removed at the Potterton estate. It's got that same symbol on it, that rippling expansion, and like the others, you suspect that beneath it is something underneath the ground.
Just as I thought. Now, is touching this capstone on the top is what sends you into...
looking at it, you do begin to feel like a pull. Now, I believe you've experienced this before, because you saw it twice now. You saw it in the Potterton's estate and at Stornley House. So if you wish, you can look away from it, make sure it doesn't happen. But you do feel that pull.
Yeah.
It tries to draw you in.
All right, Ted. It's just what I thought. There's a few of these scattered around. There was one in the Potterton's summer house, and underneath is where they kept some goods. I reckon there's some folks all around the town. Maybe from a few hundred years back. Been
hiding
keeping some
treasures.
valuables. Just the very same.
Hey, there's something to it.
That's it.
Funny figure, isn't it? The symbol's
Yeah,
kind of...
don't think about it too much. You can't.
You can
read
see it
it.
beginning to
Don't look at it.
You sort of just slap him out of it.
Yeah. Don't look at it too much. Just look at what's underneath.
Hey.
See, this is what you're getting from me. I've been in town for long enough. I get to suss out the secrets of this place. So, we've got, Jones's note on the way to get that payday. We've got another payday right here. What do you reckon?
Okay. I reckon that's pretty good. Hey, say yeah.
I reckon you reckon right.
Yeah.
Let's
All
move
right.
the camp a bit closer here and then start digging.
Sure. Okay. We've got some shovels and things. We can get to it. If there's treasure underneath that, we'll have it open pretty quick, smart. What do you say? Yeah.
Let's do it.
He's gonna head back to the others, and they can set up camp here, begin to break this open.
Fantastic.
He
That is a
races.
chance for me to rest.
Yeah. He races back, and you can just set yourself up underneath the tree if you so wish, and have a little snooze.
I got some underlings now. Feels good.
Feels good.
Feels
Having
good.
people tell what to do. How good is that?
100%.
Alright. The others race off, and shortly after this can all begin to be set up. Mr. Potterton, during the day you're kind of just deflecting, playing a little bit of defense. Do you want to give me an objective for the morning, or just general batbacks and a bit of rest so that you can do activities during the night?
I think it's all within the flavor of trying to stop the cascade, basically. I'm not exactly sure what that probably looks like. But my intention in the evening will be to head towards the forest to try and speak to our friend the witch.
Okay. Well, in that case, in the morning, you bat back. Get that shit out of here. I am a gentleman and a scholar, and I'll stab you like I stabbed that guy if you talk shit to me. Come evening, a runner arrives, a man on horseback, pulls up and has a letter addressed specifically to Mr. Potterton, Mr. George Potterton the younger. Opening it, you see a request for ransom for one Miss Jane Radcliffe to be delivered to the Four Feathers Tavern. Did you set a time, Jackson?
Yeah, would have. Would have given,
Gonna do it for this
today
night?
for the letter to arrive and be sure it arrived, and then he might need another day to get the money together because I know he doesn't have any, which is why I said you're gonna have to borrow some money, mate.
Okay, yeah.
So probably the next night, the very next night.
Okay. Yep.
Midnight, once all the regular patrons have cleared off, if indeed there are any regular patrons.
So as in this night here, like you want it to be like he has, or even a full day, and then it'll happen on the following. This letter arrives to him in the evening.
Arthur arrived.
Yep. It is now
night that Arthur died.
Yep.
Morning we wrote the letter. That evening he gets the letter. He's got 24 hours from this night to the next night.
Okay, Mr. Potterton, you receive the letter.
Having-
A quick questioning of the man who delivers it will describe Baxter as being the one that gave it to him. It was basically delivered anonymously within Tarryford.
Do I think I have time to whip back and catch him?
No.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you could try. Sorry, you absolutely could try. You could hand it to Tarryford. In theory, if he's on foot, it could be well, but you don't really know. He came into Tarryford, told this person to deliver the letter, paid him for it, he raced off. It's been a couple hours since then. It's very much a cold trail. Maybe he's waiting in the tavern for you. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, well, having succeeded my int roll, I kind of go,
yeah, but yeah, I don't know that you know.
Okay.
Actually, sorry, I will give you a little thing. He does, the person who, the rider says he was approached in the tavern when he delivered the letter. There is a small chance you did tell Baxter or imply that there was money there. Maybe he is still there looking for it.
I think I'm probably pretty convinced that that's the case. And at any rate, they need to watch the tavern because they need to take the ransom. So, I take this letter. It will be valuable evidence in the stopping the cascade if I need to. I hope. I think I'll probably head into town at this point. I figure I could I'll need to put some messages out and speak to people in town anyway, including possibly visit the Reverend. So I'll grab my own horse and head in, intending to check out the tavern.
Love it. Okay. Checking something. Okay.
This is a fine tangled web we have.
It's feeling very almost fiasco-esque in
It really
play.
is.
It's like scattered bullshit. Mr. Potterton, could you give me a luck roll as you head into town come evening?
Sure. I have very little luck left. Yeah, nah.
Yeah. Coming into town by as you arrive at the tavern, No, we do have to do some things here. I'm remembering you fumbling a reputation roll for writing a letter at the tavern.
Yep.
As you arrive, the constabulary is present, and you see Dickie and Tom laid out on the street, preparing to be brought to the doctor's house. As you approach, you rode into town, you're walking, actually probably on horseback, you're coming along. You don't know if they're looking for you. They've clearly found them, and they outpaced your explanation. Your letter was basically, on my reputation, it's fine, don't go down. Because it was a push roll or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
They have gone, damn, understand it, really need beats, gone down, and found 2 sleeping people and ichor leaking out of the ground. You are in trouble. Do you just go in and just go about turn and start driving, or do you want to try and get ahead of? You're already not ahead of it. Do you want to try and play a little?
Let's try and get up to speed with it. Yeah, I will get in and try. It's exactly what I was saying. I'm planning to spend all my waking hours in the muck trying to protect the cascade, and then moving, in the dead of night, sneak off to the woods.
Okay. As you come up, one of the constabulary, a gentleman called Charlie Ruddle, is going to see you
just come
coming.
up with that?
No, I actually checked the book.
That's
I had the
amazing.
constabulary.
Oh, okay.
You can tell the ones I come up with because they're not as good. He holds a hand out to you, Mr. Potterton, and goes, Mr. Potterton, Mr. Potterton.
Yeah, I head straight over. Yeah.
I'm sorry to stop you, but I think you have some explaining to do, sir.
No, I'm glad you did. I have come hoping to do just that. I wonder if the message of the assault on my manor has already reached word of the constabulary.
It has. We're having someone sent to speak with your sister shortly. I must admit, sir, we're confused and ever so slightly concerned. Mr. Asher has been contacted. He'll be arriving presently. Understand these sleeping men were under your seal, sir.
I understand, and I promise you my concern, and it matches your own, if not exceeds it at this point, since my family and my livelihood have been under threat quite significantly. Let's clear things up. I'll have everything, perhaps. Should we go to the constabulary house? And I start to, I move forward. My plan is to basically, throw myself as yes, I'm part of this kind of whole thing. And
he'll sort of say, best not to have this out in the street. If you'll come with me, Mr. Potterton. There is no formal constabulary. He will just take you. His suggestion would be to Mr. Asher's estate, so that you can meet with the judge. You can feel a little bit. He's being polite. This is as close you can get as being arrested, basically.
Yeah. No, I
and I am going to ask you to make
happily.
I am going to ask you to make a reputation roll at this point because it's kind of happening in the street.
This is the equivalent of getting arrested for the gentry. You can't be arrested.
Yeah.
But just going to have a chat with the judge is the same thing.
I think this is going to possibly be one of the larger hits we've had. The thing is, I keep on throwing D6s, which should be reasonable, and I think people keep on rolling ones on them. So
I've just been lucky. I've had a couple of D6s.
I know. I think this is a D6 again. I'm wondering if there's a reputation hit guide. Very quickly, I think there might be. Estate standards, fun.
We have Jackson's guide posted in the Discord.
Sample reputation losses, 45. Here we go.
Out of cringe.
A serious infraction. I believe this would be a serious. Oh wow. Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I could have been going. Public drunkenness is a D20.
Oh my god.
I would say a definite
we should all
faux
be completely
pas.
outcast at this point.
A definite
there is no
faux
way.
pas is a D6. We are past faux pas. I'm gonna say this is a serious infraction, which is the equivalent to cheating at cards, assaulting someone, breaking into someone's house. Basically being arrested in the street, I think, is getting to that vein. So James, if you could lose a D8 for me, please.
D8? Certainly. Roll 1D8. 5. Start the cascade begins. I still have cringe. If 5 hits the censored point, well, it makes sense. I'm being brought before a judge.
Is that are you censored now? Are you under a fifth of your?
Not by my. If it's a fifth of my value, I'm not censored. It's only if 5
fifth.
is
The 5 is being asked to leave. Right?
Asked to leave. In that case, you are kind of pseudo arrested in the streets. And you are taken towards the judge. Already people begin to talk, and you can see as you walk past, you see the alchemist, or the apothecary is the word I'm looking for, seeing you go and being like, I better get my money before someone else gets it. It's beginning, Mr. Potterton. It's all going undone. As you are escorted out to Mr. Asher. No chance to search. Baxter, the man who delivered the thing. Actually, do you want to tell them about the letter?
I think I'm planning to use it in my defense. More more so than leveraging it as a try and find that guy now. It's all in preparation of yes, this is here is all the evidence, and a letter. Well, I've had potentially it was forged by the thieves who were fucking around with me, sort of thing.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're drawn off towards that. And as we prepare to leave the scenario for this week to resume the following, I want to return to Miss Wentworth one more time. Walking barefoot in this barren, strange place. Things flit around, and just now you've begun to see what at first seemed like just like figments or specters, semi-translucent shapes that as you get closer and begin to focus on, realize themselves into people of some form. But unlike you, who seem to be more tangible, drawn into this through ritual, these are people who have come upon it by circumstance and only partially exist in this state with less control. You will see a skinny looking kid, a young man really, who is like seated on the edge of a tree, staring down at the ground. And when you sort of walk past him, he doesn't react at first. When you pause for a moment and focus on him, kind of drawing him into realness, you begin to see a little bit of opaqueness, translucency fades. He looks up and his eyes are just these like open black holes, which weeping to the point that the actual like lids and bones beneath it are beginning to drip down as tears run down his cheek, pour on his chin and drop to the floor. And he looks up at you and just sort of focuses in on you for just a second.
Is that a new sanity roll? Because holy shit.
Yeah.
That's ugly.
Go ahead and give me a sanity roll, please.
Ouch.
Never mind. Never mind. This is fine. This is not the worst we have seen.
This is
we
all
can
just
continue
part of it. He looks up at you. Do you just leave?
No, I'm gonna start singing a nursery rhyme that you would definitely know.
Yeah. Are you trying to? What's your objective here? To try and draw him out of this? To try and.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna try and Pied Piper this.
Yeah.
To the water and get everybody to the water, and this is something I want to try and make people remember the life that they had, give them some kind of drive to get back to it if they can. But I have a job to do, so I am going to keep going. But if I can bring people along with me and maybe make them a little bit more corporeal, give them a little bit more agency, remind them where they've come from, remind them of harm, encourage them to follow me, maybe.
I fully love that. I would love a charm is my instinct. Genuinely sing if you have it. I think is really fun, or dance like this, as like a bring them back to their world. Like engage with them on Regency terms. This is not that. Remember where you're from.
True, because there's probably dances done in lines with the.
Yeah.
Cycle through people. I'm gonna go with dance because it's honestly I've got more in it.
I really like it.
This is better.
I think that's a super fun application of the skill.
Doesn't matter. Although I can luck that one, but I want to save my
9 points.
Honestly.
This figure looks up at you and he weeps his eyes away, and then his cheeks begin to dissolve, and
let's go.
There's like sobs racking his chest, but it actually looks as though they're thundering his rib cage, and you see this gurgle go along his sternum, up his throat, and then belch out in this wet sob that splatters black along the ground. You try for a moment to draw him in. You do this, like, you walk towards him and sort of like offer to take his hand, almost as if leading him into dance, and when he reaches up to take it, his hand falls through yours, and you feel this rhythm, this recoil of cold emptiness that threatens to like numb your hand, like pins and needles running through it. And then as he lets out another sob, it's loud, and suddenly you hear something flapping and then landing down on the ground. You begin to move, racing faster. Before you go though, you hear something move around, and then you begin to hear
I'm not looking. Nope.
As it's being drawn up the tree and towards this guy. It's moving over you suddenly as trees flap. You race along, and then suddenly stops. There is a scream that sounds very real as someone yells in terror, and then as you're running, suddenly it goes through the tree line, breaking branches, and splat a ghostly figure made all too corporeal lands on the ground before you, broken into pieces. It's as if it was a long-turned apple or fruit was dropped from a great height, and its wet pulp and matter is splattered along the ground, gems, trees, and your slipperless feet. Can I get one more sanity roll from you?
Yep, that's fair.
And as the dark figure above slides off
That'll hit me.
into the darkness.
Yep, that sucked.
That's where we're going to leave the session. Can you
That
first give me take 1d6, please? As you're aware of some of the horrors stalking this area and see one of these strange, translucent once people killed.
That's yeah. Look, so I'm at 5 for this session now.
Okay. Is that going to be indefinite?
Was that your fault? Did you do that?
Huh?
I feel like you kind of caused that. Asking them to dance.
Yeah. Oh no, totally.
Good one.
Indefinite. Where am I? Where am I? Indef is 12.
Okay, so a little bit to go. All right. Miss Wentworth is still holding it together, and if only she can find her way out of this mad world that she's drawn herself into. And with that, we're going to park this week's session. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and thank you so much for my tremendous players for playing.
Thank you, Dave, for keeping.
Thank you. We will be back same time next week to resume the adventures of our Regency era people. We had to beat this one. Miss Radcliffe's deception has been uncovered. Mr. Potterton's cascade is beginning, and Miss Wentworth is off to dreamland. So at least someone. Jamie killed a man. Sorry, Mr. Potterton killed a man. Jamie has not killed anyone. Legally, we have to stay. He has not killed anyone, or has never, trial went nowhere. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope we will see you next week. Ciao.